Hey everybody, it is RambleCast time, and this is a June 22nd. They actually have these each year, or so I believe. I've checked once or twice. In here today, whatever. Who cares about time? We've got a Corbin,
Hello.
and I'm coming
It's
in with
me.
all this energy, and you just drop the hello.
I'm sorry. I'm retweeting myself from my other account, like the Obama with the medals meme.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because I'm retweeting from the Tech Tales account because we're gonna briefly talk about Tech Tales. Yay!
We are,
Yeah.
because Tech Tales is good and awesome, and I've been on a
Yes,
bunch of them.
it's true. You have. So I'll actually give you the link to the blog post that I made. I was gonna make like a whole. I was trying. Well, let me dump this before I start talking. Okay.
And you said you were all prepared.
Yeah. So I was gonna do for the first. So the first episode of Tech Tales went live a little over a year ago on June 12th of last year, so it's now a year old. I was gonna do like a cool montage thing, which is like one of my favorite. Like, I don't really like video. Like, I don't really like working with video or video as like a format. Really, at least not besides like this, where I don't have to do anything, right? Um, but I do still like the kind of making the kind of YouTube stuff where people make like fan trailers for stuff or that kind of thing. Um, so I was gonna try to make like a clip a bunch of like tactile stuff together, but I found it doesn't really work all that well, especially when I talk in a very like monotone voice. So putting any kind of like exciting like music to pump it up, just it doesn't really work. And also it also doesn't really work when the thing I'm putting on the screen is not, at least some of the time, someone talking. Like I was doing it with like clips of like what I'm talking about, like I was, yeah, there's a, yeah, when I was clipping together the stuff for the OSX series, I was using like, footage of them showing it off that Cody and I watched when we recorded, but it didn't really work. So
It is occurring to me, you could have actually kind of, you could go with something on the, like, not horror movie level, but sort of like the dum dum dum,
yeah.
those kinds of sound effects.
Yeah, there's ways to do.
You could certainly turn it funny and ridiculous.
Yeah, I did mess around with it. I don't know. I might go back to it. I still have all the files, so there's no rule that says because I didn't do it on the day I can't ever do it. But I'll mess with that maybe one day. But yeah. So Tech Tales is a year old. In that first year, we had 29 episodes. Not we as in you and me, Cody.
It felt like that.
I released 29. Cody was probably in probably a little over half, I think.
Is it that? Yeah, that sounds about right. Because it was what, 4 for Mac OS.
The OS X series was 4. There were 5 about OS 2. There were a couple one-offs that you were in as well.
Yeah.
And then I did a 3-parter on. Oh, you did a 3-parter for Voyager as well.
Oh yeah.
I was about to say it. There was a 3-parter for the Galaxy Note 7 that I did with someone else. I did that with Evan. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff. And
people may ask, why was Cody so much a part of this show? Why did he do so many? Because I kept saying okay.
Yeah. Yes.
I was
and
the
also,
only one who didn't learn his lesson.
Cody's very good at talking.
I do
and
talk
also I've been on so many of these that Cody has the moral obligation to show up at any point.
It's built up like store credit.
Yeah, I've got a stack of like, like people give the like redeem 1 hug card. I have the redeem 1 Tech Tales recording.
Oh
I have a
God.
stack of them behind me. Like, Cody, I'd like to redeem this now.
That's a little too fair. But no, I like doing them, so it works out.
Yeah, and it does work out because I wasn't alive for like half of these, and for some of them, you were alive. So
I have been
out.
alive for. I think the only thing that I wasn't alive for was technically the very beginning of Voyager. I think.
Yeah.
There's an
that
outside possibility that maybe something in the no, all the Max stuff would have come after I was born, I think.
Well, regardless, that's helpful.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I actually remember some of this stuff for real. I even got to touch and use a few of the things.
Yes, I have. Yeah, it is fun. There's a computer museum close to where I used to live, and I've gone there a couple times, and it's like, oh, that's cool. I've seen these on Wikipedia a lot, but never enough. I'm like, oh, cool. You just have a whole Apple Lisa computer right here. That's fun. Yeah. So yeah, I have. There's obviously more episodes on the way. I was working on one that I'm probably gonna at least throw in the freezer for a while. It's not that interesting. And then I have one that's like 1/3 edited. It's taking a while because other things keep getting in the way. And also I don't know what I think I was like really close to my microphone. So I'm editing out more of my own breathing than I usually have to do.
Yeah.
So that's fun. So that one will show up. I don't know. I'd like to get it done by next week. I don't know if that's going to happen, but yeah, there's that. I still have a huge list of topics I'd like to get to, and a lot of them now are like the ones that would take a while. So I might start giving those a try. Like I'm scrolling through my list here. I've got a couple more space things that I'd like to do, a couple more video game things. I've got a couple like really small topics. I haven't done one of those in I guess in at least 10 months. I don't know what my own determinator for small would be, but some pretty short topics. I've got a couple in here that I definitely be a lot. Like I want to talk about Microsoft Kin. That's a whole thing. That was another one where like I had it like kind of drafted for a protozoan Tech Tales that never got recorded because the format was bad. And I want to talk some more Apple stuff. But yeah, so more stuff I want to do. I'm pretty happy with the format at this point. Mostly my main issue now is just time, and also there's stuff in the I'm still not happy with like the production workflow for me. Like there's stuff I want to do, like it's like I have talked about this a couple weeks ago, but one thing I really like is when podcasts have chapters. And that's now incredibly easy to do with YouTube. Like I just put in the timestamps in the description and it even does it automatically. I've seen YouTube try to make its own chapters on Tech Tales, and it doesn't do it's decent. Like it's surprising how good that is. But so that's easy to do on YouTube. Not really easy with the tools I have on the audio versions. I found a bunch of Mac apps that are built for like putting chapter markers into audio files, which then show up in podcast players. But I haven't really found anything that does that for Windows. That's at least one that's like not part of a larger tool, like a whole different replacement for Audacity. I don't really.
Out of curiosity, would you want, or would you be good with just like I'm gonna say a command line tool that does it. Like you just provide a
Yeah,
text file and apply.
yeah, I'm still playing around with the idea of basically making that myself, because what I've noticed is,
I was gonna say I think I could probably burn that out in like a couple of
yeah,
hours.
yeah, I was looking at something to do it, but because what's interesting is Audacity has audio markers in it. When I'm editing, I can like even like give them names and stuff, but they don't go into the file when I export as an MP3. But what I can do is it lets me save those markers to its own text file,
Oh yeah,
and then theoretically I could like combine those with another tool. But
yeah,
that's
I could easily do that.
yeah, but yes, I feel like that's something that it should really just be at Audacity. I don't know why it doesn't.
Yeah, it obviously should be, but yeah, I mean, if you want, I could probably make that tool for you.
Open source moment.
Actually, you know what? Let's talk about this later because I actually want. No, I actually think I want to do this for you, because.
Oh dear.
Well, just because I need an excuse to post some open source stuff.
Oh, you can be my open source monkey. Okay.
Something like that, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that it'll be good, but ideally it'll be good enough.
Well, also what's not good is I don't have like the process for me making the video versions is also like not super great. That's also like a very hastily put together bash script.
Yeah.
So that's something. I was playing around with the idea of like turning my video script and whatever the chapter thing would be into like an actual like tool that like other people could use, but there didn't seem to be much interest in that besides myself when I tried asking podcast people. So
wait,
that
what
might
does
just
this
be
do again?
The video thing or the chapters thing.
Well, the part you just said other podcast people weren't interested in. That was the video thing, right?
Yeah, I was gonna combine a tool I would presumably make where
that's the one where it takes your audio file and just basically creates, or it turns it into a video with a static background.
Yeah, so for the video right now, yeah, I have it's a GitHub action right now, but I also made like a local Windows version. But yeah, I give it a SoundCloud link on the GitHub one. I give it a SoundCloud link. It uses YouTube DL to download the audio file, and it grabs like, yeah, it does that, and then it uses FFmpeg to make it a video file based on. I also give it a PNG file to use as like the video. Basically, it's just a static image, and then it gives me the file, and that's what I upload to YouTube.
I am immediately over engineering this in my head for ways to make it cooler. But yeah, that
I mean, it works.
That would actually be a pretty easy thing to do too.
Yeah, I mean, I made a Windows version that is just a PowerShell script, but has like a file picker, so I can choose the locations for everything. But yeah, so yeah, there's like backend stuff I'd like to change, but yeah, like I'm pretty happy still with the format. I'm definitely still not, I think, the best audio voice. I can't really do anything about that at this point, but best I can do is edit out my long breathes and my ums. That's about it.
Well, and not to say I don't say plenty of uhs and ums, but
yes, I do edit some of yours out because I feel like that'd be unfair if I edited myself to sound more intelligent and I left you going that wouldn't be fair.
Right. Though I feel like I've gotten better. I'm still not exactly free of them. I still occasionally have like
as long as I don't give you something to read, then we're in trouble.
hey, I had a perfect read through that one time.
that one time.
That one time. And
Yeah.
and generally speaking, my read-throughs are not that bad. There have been a couple of disasters, but
yes,
I'm literate-ish enough, mostly.
So yeah, I'm hoping sometime soon I'll have time to make some new outlines. Again, the one I had that like I'd already worked a couple hours on because there wasn't a lot of like good sourcing, is not that interesting. So that one will just sit in my cloud storage until I feel like going back to that. Austin said we need an AI podcast voice editor that's trained on NPR. I would like a button in Audacity to automatically remove ums. That'd be pretty sweet. I'm sure someone's made that's like, I'm sure that's a feature in one of the like subscription audio editors at this point. It has to be.
That'd be pretty neat, but I have a nagging suspicion probably not.
Doesn't Adobe have an audio? Yeah, Adobe Audition.
Yeah, and Audition's supposed to be fairly good. I don't know too much about it, but I've read a few things. Supposedly it's pretty good to use, fairly, no more difficult than any of the others. I've always used Logic. Not that I'm good with Logic, but I know a little bit about it. I have used Audacity in the past, which actually Audacity has that sort of almost what's the name of it? Well, I'm gonna compare it to like WordPress in the way that it's not necessarily the best tool out there, but it has so much like open source contribution to it that just as a result of its age and popularity, it has become invaluable in so many ways that none of the other tools can do or have.
Yeah, and like it's also very open source in that the UI it looks like it should have been 20 years ago, but it's like an editing tool. Like no one cares.
Well, yeah, and I was gonna say that's the thing. Go look. Okay, if you look at video editors, not all of them, but most of them honestly look pretty decent. They're busy. They have to be like they're very busy interfaces, but they all look usually kind of modernish, kind of up to date, kind of nice looking. When you go look at audio, no, all audio editing. It doesn't matter what it is. I've never seen any software that is dedicated to audio that does not look like it came straight out of the 70s. Maybe some of the DJ stuff is a little better looking, but that's about it. And that's a totally different market. So yeah, it's a thing. All audio software is just god awful ugly.
Yeah, but yeah, it's pretty good, and they did a somewhat big update, like I think a year ago or about 6 months ago, sometime last year, that improved it a little bit. I know they're planning stuff because I think they got bought like a year ago.
Audacity.
Yeah, I think.
Somebody bought an open source project?
Yes. In April 2021, it was announced that Muse Group, owners of Muse Score and Ultimate Guitar, would acquire the Audacity trademark and continue to develop the application. So,
interesting. Yeah, this is kind of sounding a little familiar now. I vaguely remember this, but
there was a thing where they got bought and people were freaking out because the company who was buying them had some kind of like not great privacy policy, but I think they sorted that out.
We'll see.
And like even if they didn't, like if it's an issue, so someone will make a fork.
Yeah, I was gonna say somebody will build from source, and that'll be.
Yeah. So be on the lookout for more tech tales at some point. I'm not stopping, but they do take a long time, and I don't have a lot of free time, so they're sparse. I don't think I'm gonna hit that same 29 episodes in the next year, unless I lose my job, and I have like a month to kill before I get a new job. That would be under one circumstance that could happen, but pretty sure that's not gonna happen. So yeah, fun stuff.
So, yay! Hooray for Tech Tales.
Now we can talk about something stupid.
Huh?
Now we can talk about something stupid.
Oh, well, okay, if we're gonna transition like that, well, man, I was about to say, if we're gonna transition like that, that can only mean, oh wait, no, I have two topics on deck that fits. So do we go to nothing or do we go to dish?
I can complain about nothing for a second.
Yeah, we'll do nothing, because why not? So the quick TLDR on this, I think everyone has already heard this. Nothing Phone 1 is not coming to the US, which I don't know how specifically I said this, but I was already kind of saying, like, I don't think that this phone is going to do that much for the US audience. And I guess they agreed. So, yeah. Nothing has announced that basically they're going to target the UK and Europe as a whole. They don't... let's see, the Verge article doesn't mention Asia, which makes me think that they're going to just really target Europe exclusively. So...
yeah, I think it'd be really difficult for them to compete in a lot of Asia. I think Xiaomi and Oppo would eat their lunch.
Yeah.
Immediately.
And I did kind of, well, and if I recall, I think it was confirmed this is also going to go to India, which a big part of my thing last week was I could see this probably being a popular, because of the LED light up pattern sort of thing, the glyph interface.
I mean, I think it could do well in India purely because India was a massive market for OnePlus, and a lot of people there like OnePlus's stuff, and this is half of OnePlus basically.
Yeah. So yeah, I can think of a lot of reasons why this will do well in certain markets. I had my doubts about it doing well in the US, and yeah, I mean, and I don't disagree with the logic that they gave. Basically, they said, you know, they're not big enough to try to broadly target like a worldwide launch. So they're going to try to release in a market where they can work and where they have partnerships. So their logic is good. You know, if this is one of those things, like if you knew somebody opening a restaurant and they were saying, well, yeah, we're going to open this 2-story restaurant that's got this, and this, and it's like, oh yeah, and we have $100,000 to do it. You would laugh at them. You would call them idiots, and you would predict that they will go under in like 2 months. Well, this is the smart thing. This is the guys who are saying, yeah, we want to open a restaurant. We have no money, so we're buying a food truck. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, you'll succeed. Good job. You're smart. So yeah, I think they're doing the right thing. It's just also funny because so much attention is being paid to this phone from the US. I mean, they gave one to MKBHD to show off, and it's like, guys, you won't be able to buy it, but hey, have a look at the neat flashing lights.
Yeah, this is purely inside baseball, but like I know like most of the people who are paying attention to this phone don't care, but I'm just absolutely infuriated with the PR strategy at work here. Like I hate every part of it, where instead, because like when news outlets cover something, there's like two factors. There's, do the people who read, do our readers care about it, or readers, watchers, whatever format you are, does the audience care about it, and does it matter? Like one of those like two things has to be that. And we've never had an answer for does it matter yet for this phone. We just don't know, like, because again, every time they drip feed information, we don't know the full picture, so we don't know if it matters. Like, they could have been doing this song and dance for as long as they've been doing, and they could keep doing it for the next couple months, and then finally when the phone comes out, it's $3,000. And then at that point, it doesn't matter. It matters literally no amount except to the people investing in nothing. So because we don't know if it matters, we don't know. We still don't have all the full details about this phone. It's been announced like 18 times. And like I think I've blocked a lot of this out of my memory. So I did do a search for all the sites that had made articles, like everything we know about this thing. There's still basically no information about this phone. We know it's a phone. We know it has some kind of like slightly customized. They were talking about it being like a heavily customized version of Android, but based on that launcher they released, it really doesn't. I don't think it's going to be that. We know it's got the cool back stuff with the LEDs. That's neat, and that's really it. Like we don't know anything about the cameras. We don't know what the processor is. We don't know really anything about the screen, as far as I know. I know like it's been shown off, like it's got like a punch hole camera and stuff, but like we know like all of the important stuff. We have no clue. And like really with the software, the only thing we know is that they said they were going to update it for like 3 or 4 years, but like that's table stakes at this point. And also, I don't know if this company is going to exist in 4 years. I don't. So that's the other thing, is like I'm pretty confident when Apple or Samsung or Google makes that promise, because Google's going to be around in 4 years.
I'd even buy it from OnePlus, Oppo, Huawei.
Yeah. Because because with all those companies, they already have a huge infrastructure for after purchase support. They have like thousands and thousands of customer support people and like a repair network and stuff.
You know what? I would even trust it from, and this is, I think, a significant statement, I would even trust it from LG. And to a lesser degree, but still arguably HTC, because as much as they are basically dead and gone from the industry, fact of the matter is the companies are still there, and they are. Yeah, they still I don't want to say they'll be held liable if they welch on their commitments, but the thing is, to a certain extent, they would be like, and they still have reputations to maintain. If nothing disappears, they disappear. They're not gonna own up to commitments. They don't have any obligation to. Some of the developers might decide to, but
and nothing has none of that.
Exactly.
They don't even have, like, even OnePlus in its early days, it had Oppo as like to make the phone. So like there wasn't really any doubt that like they wouldn't be able to make the phone. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt here, because Carl Pei is sitting on buckets of VC money.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the phone will come out. I don't know if there's going to be a second one. That's always the kicker too, is like if there's not a second one, that means that long-term support on any of them is going to be real dicey.
Yep.
We saw that with Nextbit when they made the Nextbit Robin, and then they got bought by Razer, and there was like support issues with their first phone and that kind of stuff. So Bixby just went off for some reason.
I didn't understand that.
Thanks.
We agree, Bixby, you didn't.
I'm keeping a running list of all the sounds that activate Bixby. Well, okay, I asked for it that time.
Yeah.
Like right now, I was watching an episode of Scrubs, and someone said the word diabetes, and Bixby turned on.
Wow. Don't
know why. I was listening to a song that was only instruments. There's no one talking, and it turned on. So that might be that'll at least be a fun Twitter thread when I get enough things. But
well, for whatever reason, my Pixel 4 XL, had to think about which one it was. That one, for whatever reason, it is triggering on practically any sound. At this point, my cat meowing might trigger it. So
cat wants to order food.
Oh, you have no idea.
So
She's demanding for food these days. She gets fed plenty. She just always wants more, or rather, more fresh.
I feel that.
Yeah. So, really quick, Austin, this StockX thing. I'm not sure I understand what's going on here. Is this like somebody is just putting 100 of the Nothing phone up, like they're going to import it or something, or is this Nothing doing?
I think they're doing it. I think I saw that.
That's cringy. If I'm understanding this, so they're just selling these for astronomically high prices for just 100
The
people
first
to get.
the first 100 units, it says.
Yeah, that's
Look
dumb.
at the page. It is dumb. You're right. Again, like the marketing for this is absolutely insane, and so we've got.
It is very OnePlus like.
It's. I would venture to say it's worse. At this point, I'm starting to think someone at OnePlus, maybe the other co-founder, I forget their name, or other executives or Oppo, kept having to hold him back. And now that no one's holding him back and he can do whatever he wants because it's his company, we're getting this. Like, it's not now. This isn't as grossly offensive as some of OnePlus's marketing, but it's absolutely more obnoxious. Like, he's not telling people to smash their phones
Or asking girls to show their boobs.
That's what I was thinking of. I couldn't remember exactly what it was.
That one was.
I can't believe that was a thing.
To be fair, it ended up not being a thing. They made the offer on the forums. Okay, if I remember correctly, that's only semi-fair. I believe there was some stupid thing where I think somebody on the forums had suggested that the girls could show their boobs for a phone, and then one of the marketing people's like, "Hey, that's a great idea. Let's do it." And then I might have this wrong. Maybe this was actually something that their marketing team came up with. But anyway, the backlash was fierce, as it should have been. Completely deserved.
Probably deserved, yeah.
And so they walked it back, but it still took them, I swear, like 12 hours to walk it back. It was long enough that everyone's like, seriously, guys, are you kidding? Like, this should have been an instant. Somebody in OnePlus PR should have just been like, no, that was a miscommunication. We're sorry. Do not take this seriously. Instead, they had to actually do like the real apology, like this. We did not think this through. This is not. We
did not know we could see images of boobs from other places. Okay.
Oh,
we didn't know.
They just
no one showed us those websites. We're sorry.
Yeah. Oh God.
It's all very silly, and I'm really annoyed. I can't really be annoyed at like the people that are interested in this, and by extension, I can't be like too annoyed that other sites are covering this because they're following interest, and at least some of them are doing a good job of being like, we still don't know anything here.
Yeah. Well, if it counts for anything, and I'm not exactly defending sites as I say this, but I am predicting, because I think covering the Nothing phone up to this point, within reason, obviously every little drip that they give out isn't worth covering, but covering it up to this point to an extent made sense, and covering the fact it isn't coming to the US makes a lot of sense. After this, and I mean this very seriously, I think half the sites will maybe stop covering the phone entirely, or they will cover it at like a like once a month max kind of thing, because this phone just fell out of interest for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so coverage likely is going to be about the same.
Yeah, and it's frustrating. I'm just frustrated because it works. Like, I'm frustrated that the marketing that essentially, like, I think I wrote like maybe one article about this in the past, but like if I'm a one-man show at a tech website. I mean, I am right now for news.
I was
but
gonna say.
I meant like, you know, like generally, if I wanted to cover everything about this phone as it happened, that's at least probably 10 or 15 news stories by this point, I would assume. And that's, you know, hour for each. Let's just say that's like a lot of time dedicated to this one topic, and it's spread out because each time I'm, you know, having to go back and figure out, okay, like what's this about? What is this doing? And I'm having to do that over and over and over again. And my concern is that because this works, other companies are going to do it. And we're already seeing that a little bit. One of the other startups right now, Awesome, which is the former Essential Phone people.
Oh, I forgot
They're
that was their name.
Yeah, they're doing this a little bit. They're not as egregious. I think they did like one to say they're making a phone, which okay, that's fair. And then they did, I think, another to show the back. And then they did one where they actually like talked about the hardware. And we got like camera stuff and everything. So definitely not as like they're still doing it a little bit about some stuff that probably doesn't matter, but it's a lot more constrained. But my worry is that this becomes a larger industry trend, and then when Samsung starts, you know, they're doing their stuff for the Galaxy, you know, S25 or whatever, I'm having to cover a upcoming phone from Samsung for a month, and then I'm having to do that multiplied by like everyone who wants to try to do this for attention, and it's not fun for me. So yeah, that's mostly my grievance with this is more that it works, and the work involved with keeping it all together is a lot, from a publisher standpoint, and especially once it starts when it starts crossing into the territory where someone has the phone, then it gets absolutely crazy. Like I dealt with this a couple months ago where something about a OnePlus phone was published by a OnePlus person on the OnePlus forums, and I covered that, and it turns out like we technically weren't allowed to cover it because it was something that they were going to reveal later, but one of their engineers already revealed it, so that post went down. I don't know why, but and then it went back up later where I'm sure no one read it. Mm-hmm. So then it gets to the point where like you have like not everyone is in the loop with this absolutely insane PR strategy, and then it turns into a mess for everyone involved. And I'm really sick of it. Can you just I feel like I'm okay with like 3 max. I think you can announce that you're making a phone, you can announce the announcement for the actual one, and then the announcement. I think that's it from me. I think that's totally fair. That's what everyone does. Mm-hmm. If you send me an embargo that your phone will have, you know, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and that's the only thing in your embargo, I will ignore you.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate that now I do not have to play that game if I don't want to. Usually, I mean, I still have a boss, but so far the bosses are fine with that.
They're leaving you up to your own.
Yes, and I actually I usually have more important things to do, so I don't need to.
It is easy. I mean, realistically, it is very, very easy to say, you know what? We have these other 10 things that are going to get at least as many views, if not more. So, you know, let's just cover those instead.
Yeah, like I didn't get to a couple things I want to do today because I had stuff from yesterday that I like still wanted to write. So, Austin said part of the issue is that there is probably only a handful of publications that can afford to make a stand against this kind of marketing. I mean, I don't know if like making a stand is the right word. I would like to see a harder line on just ignoring some of these really silly announcements. But they're following interest, right? Like, and that's the kicker here is like, I think a lot of things that a lot of people are interested in are silly, right? I'm not interested in the Kardashians whatsoever. I think that's a silly thing to be interested in, but I know other people are interested in it. They can do that. I'm not saying they shouldn't, but I don't care. Um, so it's kind of an interesting thing where like, you know, media is going to follow what people are interested in, and they also have to balance that with like what I said earlier, where they have to balance what like there's already interest for with like stuff that matters, where like, you know, there might be like something that like people aren't aware of that they should know about that has to be balanced against, okay, what are people interested in. And it's about time and resources, and some media outlets can do that both and some of them can't. And again, from a purely inside baseball perspective, this whole thing really annoys me when I need to do my job.
Yeah.
And I have to keep up with, okay, what did we already announce from 5 announcements ago, right? Like literally, and this is not like exactly the same thing, but it's like in the same vein where just today I got an embargoed news post and I had to like go through it and like one by one check what is actually new here, because this company has a reputation for not it being, you know, totally upfront about
You're
that.
talking about
Like,
Google.
Cody knows exactly what. No, don't say that, Cody.
I mean, you didn't say anything. You didn't break any rules. I'm the one who's just,
Okay.
based on what you're saying, I can cleanly and easily predict this is Google. Everybody
That's
knows
okay.
Google is notorious for this.
Well, I wasn't gonna say it, but you know, like 3 people are watching this, so I guess it doesn't matter.
Well, and
It's fine.
yeah, and I don't look. It's fair. It's not like the only thing technically you gave away is that you got an embargo today. It doesn't even give away when the embargo's gonna happen. Though to be fair, if anyone knows about Google, you would also know when that embargo is gonna happen, because Google's also famous for something else. But yeah, no. If you read Google's blog posts, they're riddled with kind of vague statements, basically saying, yeah.
Google's blog post is why I have trust issues. Like just everything they do, and it's made worse by the fact they're getting better at this. I've noticed, but they're historically bad with putting absolutely banana-sized GIFs in their blog posts. That's the other thing I can't stand from them. Yeah, just like bananas, like just way too much.
A banana for scale.
Yeah. You're really fucking big banana Cody. I've seen at least a 70 megabyte GIF before on a Google blog post.
Dude, you gotta understand, the really juvenile side of my brain is wanting to make really
There's a lot of
jokes right now.
Yeah,
but
there's a lot of big jokes to be made. Yes.
Oh boy. But yeah, Google does post some comically oversized images and GIFs. They have a tendency of posting, well, in any way, shape, and form, just muddled blog posts that have they'll talk about something that's as much as several years old as if it was brand new.
Yeah.
And then they'll mix in the brand new thing, which in some cases is not even newsworthy. In other cases, it's like a really big deal, and it might only get like a sentence where they then spend 2 paragraphs talking about an old thing that's not that big a deal.
Yeah. Yeah, they do the thing where they're like, I hate everything about this, but they do the thing where they're like 10 cool, like they'll release a blog post that's like 10 cool tricks for Google Chrome, and like 8 of them will be something that showed up years ago, and then the 2 will be something they've never talked about before. And so every time you see a Google blog post, you have to read it and be like, okay, what's actually new here? It's immensely frustrating. So again, more complaints from the industry.
Yeah.
But I think the Nothing phone is silly, and I can't wait for it to come out and it just be a very okay phone. And maybe there'll be a second one, maybe there won't. I don't know how much VC money. Well, I do know how much VC money Carl has because that's public information.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much he's burned through. I don't know. Maybe this bidding the first 100 phones, that might be enough capital for round 2. Just keep doing this for all eternity. I don't know, but
so really quick to kind of weed through some of what we were just talking about, and also bring in Austin's comment about there's only a handful of publications that can afford to take a stand against that kind of marketing. I would go a step further and say there are the same handful of publications. It's the only ones that can also afford to try to do things like weed through posts about Google products, Chrome, and it's not just Google stuff, but a lot of companies. Like, there's so often a lot of companies or a lot of websites, if you look at their news coverage, they just don't bother. They're not even going to try. They just take whatever gets published by a company, and they will just publish it kind of straight. They don't try to figure out what's new. They don't care. And the sad part is, a lot of times that gets rewarded because they'll cover stuff as if it was new, and that ends up hitting Google Discover or various whatever other news outlets. And a lot of people don't necessarily poke through it, or they don't look at comments to realize, oh yeah, regular people are calling out that this is all old stuff. And it gets rewarded. And to kind of take that a step further, a lot of writers, because writers are freelance generally, not all, but a lot of them. Truth of the matter is, most of them don't have an incentive to try to spend their time doing the lookup job. You get paid on how many articles you pump out, so it doesn't benefit you to sit there and try to do well. It benefits you to hurry this thing out the door and move on to the next. So yeah, we have a broken industry.
Yeah, you were getting to what I was going to say, where this is like one tiny piece of a larger issue where, like, work generally in a lot of industries is not actually rewarded. So why try?
Mm-hmm.
So that's a fun thing to think about at 2 a.m. when you can't go to sleep. But yeah, and yeah, so that's all I have to say about Essential. I'm Essential. I mixed them up. That's all I have to say about this week's phone startup.
Really quick, also, Carson found the original stupid thing that OnePlus did, which,
good.
To its credit, it's a little bit more subtle. I misremembered. So it reads, ladies, and in parentheses says, and only ladies. Sorry guys, ladies first. The rules are simple. Number 1, draw the OnePlus logo on a piece of paper or on your hand, face, whatever, so we know it's really you. Number 2, take a photo of yourself with the OnePlus logo clearly visible, and 3, post the photo in this thread. The 50 most well-liked ladies will receive an invite and a Never Settle t-shirt. And it goes on from there.
So wait, so did it involve boobs or no?
They never mentioned that.
Okay.
But this is also one of those where you know that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I remember very specifically, there were a lot of guys who were like, "Hey, girlfriend, wife, whatever, come over here." And yeah, they did things like drawing the logo on very obvious body parts and posted that. And yeah, so very quickly the forum flooded with people going for that very easy mark.
And nothing good happens when you ask people to post pictures of themselves on the internet for a competition.
Especially,
I mean,
yeah,
not
especially
even
with
internet.
women only.
Yeah. Yes.
And
Nothing good. This never turns out well.
also
At a-
inviting the crowd to vote.
Yeah. At a minimum, in terms of minimum damage, you get like a Miss Universe situation where the worst damage you're doing is that the women involved like are starving themselves. But I don't think people will do that for a phone.
I don't know that I'd call that the minimum damage, but okay.
Well, yeah, if I'm trying to think like cultural damage that can happen from this, or PR damage, but yeah, so that's fine.
No, PR. I can think of minimum damage that is also perfectly appropriate PR damage. When HTC did anything,
Oh no.
think of all of the HTC ads that they did.
Well,
Honestly,
they did some weird. Honest, again, if Tech Tales was video, I would do so many episodes where we're just watching weird ads. That would be that'd be
actually, we should do an HTC episode of Tech Tales. Admit it, that would be legitimately.
No, yeah. There's just a lot. It would have to be something specific. I do have an episode that like I have like half planned where I'm going to talk about like iPod ads.
Okay.
And because there's good stuff there, but like yeah, like I do think like if there was ever a Tech Tales like Patreon, that like the thing you would get for being a patron was like me and someone else were gonna watch like silly tech things and do with their YouTube or React thing format, but yeah. So anyway, phones are stupid. Also speaking of phones are stupid, I switched back to Cricket recently. I'm off the teen train. I still have my little SIM card here on my desk. But yeah, I switched to Cricket after I moved because it seemed like the reception here. I was on Cricket before I moved here, and once I moved, it seemed like reception was iffy. So I was like, oh, I kind of want to try something different. And at the time, Cricket, I believe, was still Cricket being the like AT&T sub brand, but I believe at that point they were like limiting speeds, and also Ting had more data for less money. So I was like, okay, yeah. But the past couple months, I cannot get voice over Wi-Fi to work for the life of me on my Samsung phones. So it's like a something Samsung configuration. I put this in my Pixel with Lineage on it. Fine, everything works. So don't know what that's about, but I really need that because Ting inside my apartment had no signal. I don't know what my apartment's walls are made of, but they block the majority of cell signals. So if I want to get calls at all, I need voice over Wi-Fi. So I switched back to Cricket, and it still does the thing where it's basically using like AT&T's configuration for everything. So this works just as well as Samsung on AT&T's on my phone works just as well as a Galaxy phone on AT&T's network. So I get visual voicemail. Wow, thing iPhone had 10 years ago. That's pretty cool. And I get voice over Wi-Fi, works perfectly, and all the other auxiliary stuff. And they don't limit speeds anymore. I'm getting some pretty crazy speed test results. The coverage in general on AT&T's network seems to be better around here, which was a little bit surprising. But like, in here, like I was like, if I'm sitting at my desk and I had Ting, I was getting like 1 bar or nothing. I'm still getting not great reception, but I can load stuff and I can get calls if I need to. The Target store near me, I couldn't get a phone signal in like half of that store. I don't know what that store's walls are made of, but works fine there. It also worked fine in the movie theater when I saw Doctor Strange for the second time this past weekend, and worked fine in there. Ting could barely get a signal in half of that place. So I don't know what AT&T's doing in the North Raleigh area, but it's working. Only downside is that Cricket will not let me have tethering unless I sign up for their unlimited plan, and I don't need unlimited, so I don't have tethering. A little bit of a bummer, but
So, Austin kind of stole the joke, but I was going to then use this as a transition to say, what, you don't want to go with Dish's 5G network? But
yes, Dish. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So did I think you talked about this last week a little bit, right?
Yeah.
You said So the TLDR is that on the day they were required to by the FCC, they launched their 5G coverage in 20% of the United States. They say.
I feel like I'm just going to slightly augment how you said that. On the last day before they were going to be fined millions of dollars.
Right.
That is a little bit more
right.
The slap
this is
lands.
This is the multi-million-dollar company version of I waited until 11:50 at night to turn in my research paper.
Yeah. And not only that, this is like the research paper where the professor has to go find a special de-encryption tool, enter a key code that they're then going to have to ask you for separately, also that they can read your paper. Which
this is the research paper that was submitted in like AppleWorks format. Like no one really knows what to do with this.
Yes.
Like how do I use this?
And the research paper in this instance may as well have actually been written into like Adobe Photoshop documents, because it is so much the worst possible scenarios of everything. They basically wanted people to not use this.
Yeah. So when they were their first test city that they had up till this point, that was the only city, was Las Vegas, and the only way you could use it. And by the way, this network's called Project Genesis, but the first S is a 5. It's a 5.
Yeah.
Not a good name, guys. Come on.
I hate that.
Yeah, I think I think we've officially overdone the word Genesis. I think it's like 1. Like 5 years ago when everything was 1, and we still have some of that. We've hit that with Genesis, I think.
Actually,
I think
have we? I admit I have not heard nearly as many things with Genesis in the name as.
I think it's mostly just like I think it's more annoying because it's like pretentious. I feel like more like it's like, whoa, this thing really matters. It's like the start of everything or whatever. It's like, no, it's just a bad cell phone network, buddy. I don't know what to do. Okay. At least with 1, that like I don't think that really implies anything. That's just a word. But yeah, so this poorly named network, it's live in supposedly 120 cities. There's not a whole lot of like first-hand reporting about this, because when they launched in Las Vegas, the only way you could use this was with the Motorola. I forget what their current flagship phone. I think it's the Motorola Pro something. I don't know. Whatever their phone is, it doesn't matter. That's the only way you had to buy the phone from them, and then use the cell service from them. That's the only way we could use this. Now in the larger rollout, you have the option of a Galaxy S22 or their 5G hotspot, and the S22 from them costs $400. There's no financing or anything, which is pretty cheap for an S22. That's like MSRP is like $700 on that, or $800, and that hotspot is $350. So those two devices is supposedly the only way you can use it. I've been paying close attention to there's a Reddit for this, and some people who have been signing up and been posting in there. I did see I saw some things where like people were saying it was eSIM, but other people were saying they were taking the SIM card and putting it in an iPhone. So I don't know if maybe when you get the hotspot that uses a real SIM and the S22 is eSIM. I'm not really sure, but yeah. So in terms of real world testing, right now they're they've obviously got their own cell towers. There's not a lot of them yet. They're roaming on T-Mobile, which they got from that deal with the FCC. They get to roam for free on T-Mobile for, I think, 7 years after the deal, and I think that was 1 or 2 years ago. So they've got a while to go, and they're also roaming on AT&T. They, according to the Reddit post, that it seems to prefer AT&T. Generally, it seems like.
I'm just guessing, but I have a feeling that it's probably one of those things where they got free roaming on T-Mobile, but T-Mobile's probably severely bandwidth limiting them. Yeah, so maybe. As a result, they probably cut a deal with AT&T, and I bet that's based on usage. So they probably, because they know they're not going to have many people roaming anyway, they know they don't have to pay very much. And the people who do roam on there will at least get decent bandwidth. So that's my guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it could be that. I've been looking at some of the speed tests people are doing, and it seems to top out at like 20-30 megabits per second. Supposedly because Dish is only using one band. Right now, most carriers, they've got their cell service working on multiple bands, and modern phones can like use more of them at once, basically as like different lanes for traffic, and it all converges on your phone, so you get really fast speeds. T-Mobile's really good at doing that, and that none of that's here yet. So right now it's just it's like okay phone service right now, basically.
Yeah,
and that's that's like what I would expect from like someone who's like building infrastructure for the entire country right now. I would expect the first couple of years to be very mediocre, and that's why they have like roaming agreements already.
Yeah, so in a way I wouldn't fault them either, because this is kind of how it would go. The counterpoint is, my god, they are waiting and delaying so freaking long.
Yeah.
Which
they should have been here a year ago.
Yes.
Yeah, this is how they should have been going.
And as Austin linked in the RambleCast chat, Dish also lost its appeal for bidding credits over Spectrum. So evidently the FCC will be able to re-auction some portion of the spectrum that had previously been handed out to Dish. Now, I don't know enough of the background on this to know what implications that's going to have. Also, this is contingent on the fact that Dish still can appeal more decision, or can file for another appeal, at least one more. So, yeah, none of this is done or confirmed, but it is there. There are things involved. So. Yeah, I don't think that this bodes well for Dish, but at the same time, I have a feeling they're gonna just keep dragging this out as long as they can.
Yeah, I mean, like, I can understand some delays because, like, from what I've seen, they're going about this. I don't know. In some ways, I can understand delays because they're going about this in a pretty different way. Like they've got some technology partnerships with their partnership with Ting, to go back to Ting, they first of all they acquired Ting Mobile like a year ago, so like everyone who has like a Ting plan is technically a Dish customer already, same as Boost. But they're also working with the parent company that used to have Ting to like power all their infrastructure. So supposedly their thing is like what's going to tie all the different like roaming stuff together. So like, there's supposed to be some tech stuff. They keep calling this like a smart 5G network, but I've yet to figure out what that means. I don't think that means anything.
Well, weren't they calling it a smart 5G cloud network or something?
Yes,
I know
something
cloud
like
was in
that.
there somewhere.
Yeah, it's like I don't know what that means, guys. Like the cell signals already, well, they don't go through clouds. Clouds are much higher than that. But
Yeah. In fact, yeah, they're on the dishwireless.com homepage. They're very like opening graphic. The last sentence of it says, "quote It's the first cloud native network of its kind."
what does that mean?
Yeah, that doesn't
doesn't
have meaning.
You have to tell me what that means, guys.
Cloud natives. So your network only exists in the cloud. That seems to be what's implied.
Like
Which I don't think you can say that if you're not Google's. Damn it! I was not Stork, but whatever the balloons that they can deploy. Like that's a cloud native network if you want to have fun with it.
Yeah, Dish, where's my balloons?
Damn it! Now I gotta look it up. Google balloon.
That's what we need.
Spell balloon correctly.
Some balloons with
network.
Hotspots on them.
Giant internet balloons. Loon. I knew it was something
Loon.
bird related.
Oh, Austin got it. Yeah, Austin.
Yeah.
Got it, yeah. Thank you, Austin.
But like that's a cloud native network in the punchy sense.
So there's supposed to be some like cool tech stuff behind this, but at the same time, this should be slightly easier than like what AT&T or T-Mobile has, because they're not building. There's no LTE. Like there's no LTE. There's no 3G. They've shunned all of the old stuff. Everything they're building right now is just a 5G signal. So in theory, that should be easier, because that means they're like running like one network instead of like several.
So yes, one, it is definitely easier. They need less infrastructure to support that. Two, I would add to it, that means they don't have to split their bandwidth or frequency. Like all of the spectrum that they own could be dedicated to this singular purpose. They're not going to do that, but they could.
Yeah. So it's very, very silly. Again, like I'm still, I want to be optimistic about this because we haven't had an actual new major network in the US that was growing.
I still don't think we do.
I mean, like we're still really far from that, but like it seems like maybe sometimes they want to like be a competitor. And again, if they don't have all the legacy infrastructure that like T-Mobile and AT&T and Verizon have to keep running, then like maybe they can be a little bit more competitive. Because like I know like it's always funny, you know, Verizon has pushed off. I mean, I think they've all done it already, but like T-Mobile and Verizon and everyone was pushing off their 3G shutdown like 6 times, because like every time they try to do it, some company be like, excuse me, we have like 7 million ATMs that connect over 3G. You can't do this to us. So like that should give them a leg up, and they have enough customers to like get this going. Like they own Boost now. They have all of Boost customers. That's money going to Dish, minus, you know, whatever they have to pay T-Mobile for it. I don't think they're paying them anything right now. I'm not sure how that works, but like they have Boost customers, which is like several million people. They have Ting's customers, which is another couple million. I think they bought someone else. I want to say I think they bought the US Virgin Mobile, I think. I hate that name. Virgin Mobile USA, which was I don't think they had very many customers, because they're the ones that a few years ago did the whole stunt where like we're the iPhone only network,
Yeah.
and they like pushed everyone else off. Yes, Virgin Mobile USA is it was shut down and its customers were pushed over to Boost. So
Lame. So last week, I believe it was Austin. Could have been Carson, but I'm feeling likely it was Austin. He brought up an interesting point, and I'm still inclined to agree with this logic. It's very possible Dish's real intent here is to basically build out a network and use a lot of their spectrum basically to create a roaming network for other companies. Effectively, set it up so that any company that doesn't have sufficient spectrum in their region, they would just be able to set their customers to roam onto Dish's service, and that way Dish would effectively just be making money off of everybody else, which would make a lot of sense, especially in rural areas like mine, where, let's be honest, AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, they do not give a crap about rolling out 5G to somewhere like the neighborhood I live in. There just aren't enough people and honestly, I still maintain that there's no need for it. LTE really covers it, but if you care, if you want that, then it would make a lot of sense for Dish to roll out 5G. Just like Dish could be the one company that rolls out 5G to us, or 6G or whatever it would be by that point. They roll it out, and then everyone else can be like, you know what? Yeah, it's not worth it for us to spend money on this. We'll just use their service. And so I could see that being the standard, or a standard.
And to a certain extent, that's what all carriers do. Like all of them like roam on each other. But I mean, like if Dish wants to do that, that's also, but because like that's still giving me as a person with a phone a slightly better experience if they try. I don't know if they're gonna try. But
in this case, at least my understanding of the difference would be when you roam onto some other network, chances are you're roaming onto their crappy stuff. If if you are in an area that is best served by AT&T, but you're a Verizon customer, I don't know if those two will really roam onto each other, but you're probably dropping down to some pretty crappy quality. Whereas I think in this case, Dish should be more like, we're trying to offer you something better than your own carrier can give. So, we want everyone to want to use us. But that's, I'm not sure if I'm understanding that correctly, but that's kind of my takeaway.
Yeah. And I just noticed on their page, they say they have 9 million wireless customers right now across all the companies they've bought, which includes also Republic Wireless. I didn't know they snagged them. No Ting here. That's kind of interesting. I would have thought Ting would be important enough for a logo next to Boost. But guess not. And like their webpage is also full of just complete nonsense too. Like they say, our head is in the cloud. Our network is self-healing, automated, fully scalable, and more secure than ever. What does that mean though? Like it reboots when something's not working? Like my phone does that.
Your phone might do it better too.
My dog is also self-healing.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, one time she stepped on a bee and she got better. So I guess if Dish can bring that incredible technology to my phone, that'd be cool.
So does that mean Dish will lick itself until it feels better?
Maybe. It also means the cell towers bark.
Ooh.
For no discernible reason.
Oh God, don't say that. You know that there will be people out there like the towers are turning us into dogs. The conspiracy theories are coming. They're spreading COVID.
When are we getting back to the 5G tower hysteria? I feel like it's been a while since that was
I don't think it ever actually stopped. It's
Yeah.
just people stopped giving coverage to the wackos that were saying that, because they were the ones that everyone could kind of collectively agree, like,
Oh, I
there's
mean
someone out
more
there who's
like,
no, the election was definitely stolen, but the tower thing, look, that's a little crazy. Let's not talk about that anymore.
oh, I mean, like, I haven't seen, like, definitely for a while, when COVID really started, there was definitely a news article, like, at least once a week of, like, someone torching a tower, which of course were never 5G towers. Like, most of them, they just saw a cell phone tower and were like, oh yeah.
Well, one
Yeah,
of them
here's-
was a TV broadcast tower that had been there for like 20
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Those people made up whatever they wanted.
Oh, very silly. I mean, now those are probably the people that are burning down abortion clinics. I think they moved on to that. But
Sadly,
I think they should get back to towers, because, like, you burn down enough towers, they replace those with the really good stuff, and then I get better cell phone coverage. They have to file their network report. Yeah, there was something about that. I know also Dish said like 2 days ago that they updated their agreement with T-Mobile that had like different pricing for them. I was reading it, like, trying to figure out like if there's anything important enough to cover, and it was there wasn't like a discernible result from my perspective of like them updating their contracts with each other. So I didn't cover it, but there was something there.
Yeah, it's so easy to mock them. They're making it easy. They're trying.
Yeah, and I mean, this is just endlessly entertaining because T-Mobile for years was bitching about Dish sitting on Spectrum and doing absolutely nothing. And then when the reckoning finally came, when the United States federal government was like, okay, you guys, you can merge with Sprint, you can get what you want, but you got to find a buyer for the leftovers. And then, T-Mobile was like,
We know someone.
God damn it. Okay, call Dish.
Yeah. We might have an idea.
Yeah.
But to be fair, at that stage, everybody saw that and was like, okay, you know how this is going to end. And T-Mobile was like, look, we understand, but our hands are clean. Like, we only had to find a buyer. No one said it had to be, like, the right buyer.
Should have sold it to, like... I think they should have sold the Spectrum and Boost Mobile to, like, Wendy's.
They would have done something neat with it.
They could, yeah. I think Wendy's would have had a functional 5G network before now. Wendy's could have covered 50% of the United States by now.
Fast food and fast internet.
Yeah,
Look, like it.
You know how many locations Wendy's has? If they stick an obnoxious tower on top of each of their locations, I'm just spitballing here. Could have had something. And that would have been like the ultimate, like, people get really excited for those like T-Mobile Thursdays or whatever they are, where T-Mobile keeps giving people like one free taco at Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Like, Wendy's could have done so much better there. They could have been like, you can eat dinner, an entire dinner for a family of 5 this week. Just go to Wendy's.
By the way, for reference, 6,711 Wendy's. I believe that's worldwide. 92% are in the U.S. Or in North America. I'm not gonna do math on exact number.
Yeah, and some of those are probably in like malls where they might not be able to put a giant 5G tower, but they can do it on some of them. I'm just
Yeah.
Now, also this website for Dish Wireless, this is giving me vibes of like filling other companies' pockets with FCC money. Because if you scroll down to our partners, they list a lot of companies here.
I noticed,
feel like,
including VMware and Cox Cable,
Yeah,
which
I'm
Cox
gonna
is probably providing backhaul, but still.
yeah, like I don't and also like I don't know how many of these are like clients maybe
Oh,
for
interesting
whatever they're
point.
building.
Yeah,
But
this
like
might not be providers, it could be clients.
I think at least a lot of these are providers because like I know AWS is what they're using for like their data hub. Right now, I was looking at the Reddit and they were mentioning how the when you do a speed test, the ping times are insane because they have everything routing through like one AWS server somewhere right now. So like they're doing that. I know I read press releases where they're using some Samsung equipment, so that's why Samsung's there, and obviously they're selling S22s right now. Nokia, they're using Nokia's, all their networking stuff. It's probably is Ericsson in here? I know they were using Ericsson.
I don't think I saw that.
Hmm.
Though to be fair, it's entirely possible that they're using Ericsson hardware, but it's via some other company's partnership. Like some company partnered with Ericsson, and Dish is partnering with that company.
Yeah, because Ericsson is like what basically everyone in the West is using to build networks right now. Now that they can't use Huawei, everyone's ripping out the Huawei towers and putting in Ericsson.
Well, I do see Broadcom listed in there, and they might be part of that solution.
Yeah,
Broadcom does
Cisco.
make some hardware that would fit that, but I don't
Yeah,
think it's enough.
they've got Oracle in here for when they need to summon the devil.
Yep.
To help them with something.
Actually, Oracle is probably in there. Oh God, I'm imagining a scenario where this might make sense, because I could totally picture the past administration just straight up saying, "We'll let you in if you just contract with Oracle."
Yeah, yeah.
Because that happened. It literally happened in plain view, as TikTok was like, we swear we're not spying on America, and the government's like,
Cody,
yeah, you are.
I'm gonna put the TikTok nonsense with Trump in the Tag Tales list. That's something I need to do.
Oh, good idea.
Because there was like a love triangle thing where like TikTok was like, were they gonna get bought by Microsoft? Were they gonna get bought by Oracle? Which one was it?
Why didn't Elon just buy TikTok?
Oh, that would have been something.
It would have been. Oh, jeez. I mean, it doesn't matter. Whatever network it's on, he's going to get mocked to the point of... Anyway, moving on.
Yes.
Moving on
Yes.
before he comes sending like the Tesla brigade to attack us.
Quick, he's gonna call us a pedo.
Yes. Well,
After we
I
attempt
believe our
to save
politics,
children's life.
according to some people, our politics would probably get us called that anyway.
Yes, it's true. If you think gay people are okay sometimes, you're grooming children.
That's if you think that, you're Ezra Miller.
Yes.
You just automatically
Is Ezra Miller still on the run? I haven't checked on this one.
Honestly, I lost track. I don't know.
Last I saw, he like a court was like trying to summon him, or no, I think police were trying to actually find him, and I'm sorry, not him, them, and no one knew where they were, and like they were posting like cryptic posts on Instagram this whole time. It's so wild. I shouldn't like be as entertained about this, because all the reason they're like trying to get him is they were supposedly doing very inappropriate things with children, basically. So not great situation, but the fact that it's basically turning into a real life, not CSI episode, but like something funnier. Or
yeah,
I don't know, maybe maybe an SNL sketch or something.
Yeah,
But
it's approaching SNL levels of wacky.
It's very bizarre. And again, while this is happening, Warner's sitting on the movie with them as the star. It's like,
Though they have already replaced him officially. Not for the Flash movie. The Flash movie is done.
Oh, yeah.
But they have already cast his replacement as the Flash going forward, and apparently it's going to be Dylan O'Brien, which honestly, huge improvement. Did
they say?
Yeah,
I thought that was still.
Last I heard it was going to be Dylan O'Brien, unless they.
Is that Flash in the Arrow?
No, this is going to be Flash in the cinematic.
I know, but is that actor the one that was doing it in the shows?
No, Dylan O'Brien. He was the guy on Teen Wolf who wasn't the wolf.
Oh.
He's more. He was also in the Maze Runner franchise. He did what else? I can't think of the name of it now, but a movie with Mark Wahlberg not too long ago. Though I guess he wasn't in very much of that, but yeah, he's a good actor. Honestly, like, I saw him for Love or Monsters when that came out. Never mind that the writing on that movie kind of took a dive in the last act, but when that movie came out, my immediate thought is, this guy's gonna be huge. Give him a few more years, and honestly, like 2 years later, he's cast as the Flash. So I'd say huge is a successful descriptor.
Yeah, I still need to watch the Arrow stuff. I know you were speaking highly of it. Unfortunately, there's how do people watch, keep up with movies and TV? I feel like I'm just never gonna accomplish this. I know it's because, like, I get into this mode where I'm like, I consume media in one of two ways. Number one, I'm like playing Planet Coaster, and I need like something on my tablet running at the same time just to, max out my brain capacity. And I'll put on something that doesn't matter. Like, that's been Scrubs for me for the past month. Like, just, all right, put on that. I don't need to follow anything. It's just funny people. So then I leave like all the serious shows for when I'm like, okay, full attention here. And then that never happens because I'm a mess. But I guess I'll get to that.
Yeah,
eventually.
I will say, just currently watching through Arrow. I think I'm on Arrow season 5, but technically about to finish it up. Like, I've got one episode left. Flash season 3, DC Legends season 2, and Supergirl season 2. I'm watching 4 shows simultaneously. In sync, based on the order they're supposed to be watched, because they have crossover episodes that actually do span the entire lineup, which that part annoys me a lot. But
yeah, that's what Star Trek did that in the 90s, but they only had a max of 2 shows going on at any given point, so it was fine. That's a little more intense.
When your crossover stuff literally has to span multiple nights because you can't fit everything into a single night, like, that's rough. It's problematic.
Calm down, guys. Yeah.
So
still nothing new on Ezra Miller. It seems like they're still, because can't find them. Granted, a lot of the sources that are coming up are places I would not trust with reporting factual information. So
okay,
maybe there's been some developments.
As I skim through, it looks like the headline that I read previously. I think you're right. Dylan O'Brien isn't set to replace him. It's more that a lot of people are calling for him to be the ideal choice. So the fans want it and are going extensively mocking up this idea. So
I mean, I think it's a miracle that DC film fans are advocating for something that is like DC's gonna do anyway. That's usually not what happens. Usually they're like begging for a 4 hour cut of like I know what was the what was the comedy movie from a couple years ago?
Shazam.
Shazam. Yeah, where's my 4-hour Shazam cut?
Yeah, but everyone actually was happy with Shazam.
You say that. I mean, obviously, like you can't say no one or everyone about everything.
Obviously, yeah.
It's
not true.
I did.
100%,
Yeah,
but...
I do remember seeing a couple like weird DC fans that were annoyed that like it wasn't as dark as all the other movies. And I think I know like I think I saw someone made like a special cut that like basically made it sad or like more serious. I'm like, why are you doing this?
Oh, some people.
I need to watch that again. That was pretty good.
Well, I agree. You probably should watch it again. The catch-ish that I would throw at that is just wait a little bit longer because I believe Shazam 2 is due out like next year.
Oh yeah. I think it was supposed to be this year and then they pushed it.
Shazam Fury of the Gods. Currently, IMDb shows it as a 2022 release, but I mean, okay. IMDb never has these years correct. Oh wait, well, according to IMDb, expected December 21st, 2022. So
yeah, that's what Wikipedia says. Wikipedia is where I go now for all movie information because it doesn't have empty articles.
Yeah, hate to say it, but there is a lot of truth in that because IMDb gets a lot of this stuff wrong. We don't need a random video about The Rock on our Shazam page, guys. Dumb IMDb.
Isn't he in it though?
I don't know. Is he?
He's not on the Wikipedia page. I thought.
Yeah, I see an image of him.
I'm thinking of something else. I think.
Yeah, I don't. If he was in here, he'd be at least somewhere towards the top.
They got Lucy Liu in here.
Yeah, Helen Mirren.
Dang.
I'm curious.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
DC. It is the one franchise I'm actually kind of looking forward to DC releasing.
I know, because they've messed up basically every opportunity to have like a somewhat serious, not that Marvel movies are serious, but like somewhat serious movie. So all that's left is like this silly movie where it's just like someone like flying around yelling. It's fine.
So on a totally unrelated thing, but I just happened to, while I was looking at the Dylan O'Brien thing, I ended up on Giant Freaking Robot, and they had an article naturally that points to something else, and I see Karen Gillan. They've got her in a Jessica Rabbit dress, which means she's going to be in a second Marvel franchise as Jessica Rabbit. The good old Roger Rabbit franchise. You know what? I wasn't a big fan of Roger Rabbit back in the day, but I could be into it.
I saw Roger Rabbit for the first time a couple months ago. It's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those movies where like I guess at the time like I think it's probably more of a big deal now because no one's like really trying to do any kind of like 2D animation stuff anymore. Like that's what I was coming ahead when I was like coming out of the theater watching the Bob's Burgers movie. I was like,
I was gonna ask you about that.
I think this is the first like, I don't know if it's like necessarily hand drawn, but like 2D animated movie I think I've ever seen in a theater. I think that might be the only one.
I remember seeing South Park Bigger, Longer, Uncut.
Okay.
So I saw that one.
Because I didn't see. I know like another one would be the Simpsons movie. I didn't see that in the theater.
Never watched that. Let's see. Team America was not 2D hand drawn, so I guess that doesn't count. And it wasn't that good. I mean, they had funny bits, but the movie as a whole wasn't that good. I'm trying to remember any others. I feel like I saw at least one other animated movie, 2D like animated movie, but I can't think of what it would have been.
It's been a while.
I've got a few years to fit a second movie in, and I can't think of what it would have been.
Yeah.
But yeah, a Roger Rabbit would have been an interesting, or would be an interesting one to see them remake.
Cody, I'm still waiting for my Tron 3. I just really need them to work on that, please.
You and I both know that is IP that is going to get just handed down over and over again.
Yeah, it's gonna be another 30 years. They're gonna have the same exact time gap between the first one, last one, and by that point, Jeff Bridges will probably be dead. They'll just throw a CG Jeff Bridges in for the entire movie this time.
I think it's gonna be closer to sort of the Spider-Man style. Like every 8 years, they're just gonna start rebooting it.
I mean, I'm okay with that because I don't think you really need a story. You just need like people in like light up suits, like throwing frisbees at each other. That's half of it. So, I'm fine with that. Where's my Tron universe, Disney? Okay. You almost had it.
Okay, but
you had it.
Can we just
you
agree
had it
if they do that, no Tobey Maguire?
I don't know.
Oh,
Toby's. I like Toby.
No, you don't.
I mean, I'm not like crazy about him. I think he's pretty good. In those first 3 Spider-Mans. I mean, you could throw anyone in there except Jared Leto was rumored to be in. I'm not even kidding. For a while there, like a Tron 3 rumor shows up like once a year basically, and one of them, someone was supposedly working on a script that had like Jared Leto as the main role. I'm like, ooh, okay. Hope this one is also one of the many attempts that doesn't make it. I think I'm safe on that now. That was a couple of years ago.
Oh God. Okay, so there's that. I'm now picturing, for reasons that don't make any sense, I'm now picturing Jared Leto as Spider-Man. But
I mean, I saw someone make like a joke poster that would be like Morbius versus the like Jared Leto Joker.
Yeah,
that would be a very entertaining movie for reason. Yeah,
I would.
I mean, I
would totally pirate that to watch it.
Yeah, I'd pirate it. I'm very firmly against the idea of giving Jared Leto indirectly my money.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be a pirated movie, but I would watch it as soon as it hit popcorn time.
Oh my God, that just sounds so cringy, but also weirdly watchable. Oh, what was it? Damn it! I had something else in mind. I was gonna another movie combo tie-in thing, and it just slipped my mind. Oh, that's gonna bug me.
Something with Tron.
Probably.
I mean, Tron's just the entire point of Tron is just that you're in a computer, so really you could mix that with anything.
Oh, how about, okay, I mean, this is not the same thing, but how about, because it is basically the same concept, just different aesthetic, let's do kind of like Jumanji and Tron crossbred. I mean, it's the exact same concept. We're just talking a franchise that is successful because they got really big name actors versus a franchise that is largely unsuccessful because they got big name actors that don't do that kind of movie very often.
Well, they got Tron Legacy had Jeff Bridges and it had Bruce Boxleitner. Yeah, and that was it. No one those were the only actors anyone could recognize in that.
Well, and to be fair, Bruce Boxleitner is not somebody anyone current knows.
No, I don't think he's done much in recent history.
Well, at least nothing that somebody your age would likely end up watching. I'm assuming. I admit I haven't looked up his IMDb profile in forever, if ever. But
just want another Tron movie or a Tron show. I mean, you could do that too.
That would be better. I feel like Tron does not translate well to movies.
Yeah, I mean, you can, you can do the Tron because obviously it was a movie first because it needed a lot of money, but you could do that now as a show.
Actually, wait, was it a movie first or was it a video game first?
It was a movie.
Okay.
Yeah, I know they did probably make some like real life Tron. I know they did because I've played a Tron Tron arcade machine.
I used to actually, well, I wouldn't say be addicted, but I used to really dig a Tron arcade game. I was pretty good at it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it was a movie, and I do know that I think like 2001, 2002, Disney did make a Tron 2.0 game, and it was like a story continuation from the original movie, and they got back Bruce, and that's supposedly really good. I've never tried that, but it's apparently pretty fun. And then they just like tossed all of this when they made the new movie, which is fun.
I could kind of see Telltale Games doing a really good sort of thing like that.
I mean, it's really just it's kind of like Star Trek, I think, where where like the important part is really just the setting.
Yeah.
You can do it. Like I was thinking, like the other guy was like, what if someone did like a horror movie in Star Trek universe? That'd be kind of cool.
So
There's
basically the First Mutants, but in Star Trek.
I haven't seen that movie, but
You didn't see
probably.
First Mutants?
No.
Don't.
Was that the one that?
It's the X-Men thing that had.
Was that? The last Fox X-Men?
Maisie Williams from Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, I didn't bother seeing that.
It's look, I will say this: go watch the honest trailer. You'll get as much as you need to out of it. The movie is honestly, it's not as bad as people made it out to be, but it's also not good enough to be worth it. So watch the honest trailer, you'll get what you need.
I know I ignored it because like I know.
It's funny because I actually originally learned about it from you.
I know. Well, I know part of it was like they were setting up everyone in that movie to join the larger Fox X-Men stuff, and then Disney like killed all of that. So then it just became like this last Fox movie.
Yeah.
But well, I'll have to see that. And,
honestly, it wouldn't matter if Disney killed it or not. This was not going to be a success. It was a
but
it wasn't really a horror movie. It wasn't really an X-Men movie. It wasn't really like it didn't check any box clearly enough to belong to anything. It was just sort of like a unhappy version of an X-Men movie that had less stuff happening.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to watch that.
And no Wolverine.
Awesome. I know. Terrible.
They killed it right there.
Yeah. So I'll have to watch that, and also I have to get up and go to the store, and I'm currently sitting in my own sweat because my AC's off, and it's like, how hot is it outside now? Oh my god. It's hotter than when I started. It was 91 when I sat down to do this. It's 93 now. And it's 7:26 at night. Yeah, it's 80 degrees in my apartment. I'm not gonna raise my arms because the entire like lower half of my shirt is probably in sweat.
I mean, it sort of fits that it's a Nintendo shirt, but it's funny because what you're describing, it honestly just sounds a lot like how Vegas is, which coincidentally is.
And also
right now
this shirt,
degrees.
I don't think this shirt was properly cleaned either. I had an absolute nightmare with my washing machine. Holy shit.
Oh, wait.
I lost an entire basically 24 hours to just trying to wash a single load of laundry.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Because what happened is, so for the past couple months, my washing machine has only spun like half the time. And of course, being me, I was like, all right, you know what? I'll just, I'll keep running it until it does spin. And so far that's worked. But it finally stopped. I'm like, okay, is this something that I, as a person who has almost successfully put together a computer before, can do? and I looked at a YouTube video, and they showed that like usually when this happens, it's like a little piece that's like designed to break so that it doesn't break the larger stuff, like brake pads on a car or whatever. And they showed replacing. I was like, okay, I can theoretically do this if I like get like the tools for it. But mine is not like the clothes washer they showed where like it's like top loading and everything's on the bottom. Mine is a side loader, which means the stuff's on the back. So of course, like, it's in like the super tiny room. So I gotta like pull it out and like cram myself behind the washer. And I looked at it, I can't tell I didn't see anything out of place that's wrong. So
Why are you the one fixing this?
well, I'm not going to be, because I couldn't see anything wrong. So I'm gonna have to like call someone who knows what they're doing.
Well, okay. My question is not necessarily that. It's, I know you have an apartment. Is this machine not owned by the apartment?
No, it's mine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like I believe I can like request someone to look at it, but when my when my dishwasher stopped working, it took them a very long time to figure out what actually went wrong. So I'm not really confident in their ability to fix something that they don't own. So I'm not going to do that. So then I'm like, okay, great. I need clothes washed now, and I can't do that. And I was like, oh yeah, my apartment complex has like a tiny laundromat in like the center building where the gym is. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll use that. Except the way to get in,
oh god,
is to use this fucking terrible app called Dwello. And that's the app that hooked into this hub thing that was here when I moved in and I unplugged. And it's what that was connected to my thermostat, which I just successfully paired to SmartThings last month. And it also is paired to my front door. So when I didn't know what I was doing after I moved and I kept like leaving my keys inside, I could unlock my door with my phone. But the app like barely works. It's all these like, bottom mill contractor kind of jobs where they spent $15 making the app and then sold it to apartment complexes for, I'm sure, far more money.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, so I'm like, okay, great. So so like by this point I'm like, my dishwasher's like, my clothes washer's like all pushed out because I was looking at it. I'm like, okay, let me go look at like if the laundromat is still there, because they just renovated that building. I don't know what it's like now. So I go there, I download this stupid fucking app, and the door does open. I can get in, and I go and I say like, oh yeah, here's all the washers and dryers and stuff. Cool. So I'll come back tomorrow because I don't have any of my clothes with me and like all the stuff. And also it's 2 a.m. So I go back the next day with all my clothes and stuff. Can't get in. Stupid fucking app won't work this time. And I try like clearing the data on the app. I try reinstalling it. I believe what happened is that a outage for the service occurred at the exact moment I needed to get in to wash my clothes. So went back, tried a couple hours later, didn't work. Tried another couple hours later, it did work, I believe, because the outage ended. And then I also realized I didn't have to download their app. They have a website where I can open the door with a button on the site. So I just have that bookmarked now. So after all that, I finally get in and I go to their laundromat, and it's like $2 for a load of laundry. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And then put my money in the washer, and none of the buttons work on that machine. So then I pick up all my clothes and I toss them in the machine next to it, and then I put my money in that one. And now I have clothes being washed, except by this point I've forgotten my detergent, so all I have is like the softener stuff. And I'm like, I don't even care at this point. Just wash the clothes. Yeah. I need clothes now.
Yeah. Fortunately, my entire time living in Vegas, washing clothes was never one of the things that I had a problem with. Every place I lived, I had machines there, so it wasn't a well, okay, technically I did have to have one of the machines replaced when I first moved into this one house, because brand new house, but they stuck in all of these old appliances. So it was either the washer or the dryer, I forget which one. One of them was broken, like out of the gate, and just had to be replaced day one. And then the refrigerator that they gave me had some problems, so that had to be replaced. The replacement they gave me smelled like someone had stored like sea cod in there for weeks or months at a time.
It's what they were using to wash their fish.
Very possibly. And then they, no joke, they replaced it with a refrigerator that had a door so lopsided it couldn't seal the freezer. I think it was the freezer, maybe it was the fridge, whichever side.
Yeah.
The door did not even seal. I look at it and it's like
your one job as a fridge.
yeah, and it's like, okay, wait a second, is everything else working on this? And I dead serious, everything else is fine. And it's like, you know what, do I have a hammer?
Yeah.
Dead serious. I took a hammer.
Break out the. Yeah.
And I just hammered on the hinge of the door until I got it in place, and it's like, it seals. Everything's fine. I'm good. Like, I'm not messing with it. I'm not asking them for a replacement. This one doesn't smell weird. It's working okay. Screw it. It's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
That should not be your experience with a house that you're paying as much as I paid for that place, but it is what it is.
Yeah, so I've still got a washer that doesn't work, but now I know which machine at the apartment main building does work, and I don't have to sit there and wait for my clothes to dry either. I can I just bring my pile of slightly damp clothes and toss them in my own dryer. So
this weirdly also reminds me of when I went to college, and like when you live on campus at college, you learn like which is the good shower.
Yes.
You walk in the room, it's like, is that one taken? Oh shit, it is. Okay, I'll head back to my room for 10 minutes.
I have a little bit of that, but with parking spaces here.
Oh yeah,
because we don't have assigned parking, and I've now learned, even though it may be tempting, because if I don't do this, my car is smoldering hot when I enter it because it's outdoor parking. But if I park under a tree,
yeah,
that is asking for a lot of bird shit on my car.
That makes sense.
Way too much bird shit. More than you would expect, actually.
Not exactly, but yeah, that's a real problem.
They just sit up there and they go to town.
They do. So yeah, I guess this means we don't get to hit my fun topic. And
No.
it's one I definitely want to bring up while you're here, so we'll save it for another week. And there's no timeliness on this. This is something we could talk about in 6 months, so I'll add it to a list or something. But
All right.
yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm hungry and I'm sweating. Like I've sweat through this shirt now. Now it's really not clean.
Yeah.
So.
Well, hey, for what it's
Mhm.
worth, I'm going to end the show in probably about 20-some minutes anyway. Which, guys, count that as a 15-minute warning. But yeah, I need to go do other things, prepare for some things. Some of you know about this. So yeah,
Cool.
You're not missing much.
Well, all right. I will leave. Austin said goodbye. And yeah. So, okay. Well, I don't have anything, so I will go now. Bye.
All right, take it easy, man. And me here, I totally forgot to prepare the frame swap. Let's see. So, do we have any topics worth hitting? Coincidentally, we just kind of, with finishing the dish topic, I actually kind of ran out of anything else that I specifically had. And again, I don't want to bring up that other fun topic till we have something. Let's see. Doing a quick look. Kirby brought up the Xbox Cloud Gaming is adding keyboard mouse support. Yeah, let's see. The nothing thing. Fitbit launches sleep profiles to help you better understand and improve your sleep. Honestly, I already thought Fitbit had that, but I guess not. And that to me just triggers this is the Nest sleep tracking meets Fitbit sleep tracking. So yeah, not sure where to go with that. Netflix reportedly in talks with Google to bolster ad-supported tier. Yeah, not sure what to say about that either. What is this? Google Password Manager starts offering on-device encryption on Android, iOS, and Chrome. That sounds sus. Much sus. The technology industry, Apple, Google, Microsoft, ultimately wants to get rid of passwords with passkeys. Until then, the G Password Manager is starting to offer on-device encryption so that only you can see your passwords. Only you can prevent identity fraud. My Smokey the Bear. Today, the Google Password Manager found at passwords.g.com inside Chrome offers standard password encryption where, quote, the encryption key used to access your passwords is safely stored in your account. The big G then uses the key to access and decrypt your passwords. Okay, so this is just doing on-device encryption. Okay, I guess I need to read this. On-device encryption makes it so that your passwords can only be unlocked on your device using your G password or the screen lock for an eligible device. No one besides you will be able to access your passwords, as Big G no longer has the encryption key, which is now stored on your device in a secure way. So in other words, does it not sync between devices? It says that on-device encryption cannot be removed once set up and can be enabled on multiple devices, thus doubling as a recovery option. There are instructions today for enabling on desktop, web, Android, and iOS. Meanwhile, accessing passwords on a new device just involves signing in with your Google account, while sync must be enabled in Chrome. Big G places a strong emphasis on making sure you have account recovery options in place before using on-device encryption. User experience downsides include automatic sign-in no longer working on some devices and password checkup requiring manual invocation. So how does this do sync? It seems like if you wanted to do sync, it seems like the original device would have to decrypt the password, then send it to another device unencrypted or minimally encrypted, which during that time Google obviously would be holding your stuff unless the sync happens device to device. The process can be initiated from either the Chrome desktop, mobile browser, or password manager. However, it's not yet widely rolled out on the web, and we've only encountered it in Chrome Beta 103 on Android. I'm not really sure how this is doing sync, unless it sends the encrypted, but it's device only. I don't get it. Something's hinky here. What about Fido? Man, I barely remember Fido. Fido Alliance. Simpler, stronger authentication. blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah. Honestly, I'm not getting the point of this. Because you already had... I guess this is so you don't need to use your own password every time, because like that's how most password managers operate, is you enter your own password, and this is the point of the on-device decryption, is that you don't need to use a password. Oh wait, is this using... Well, that wouldn't make sense either. Oh. Okay, I think I see how this process is working. So on device, the password is encrypted on the device. Just on the device. When it syncs, it's being encrypted by your Google password. It syncs to another device, and once it's on that device, the password is then decrypted with your Google password and then re-encrypted using the on-device password. That's the only way this makes sense. But then Google still has your account password, so anytime it's getting synced, they can still get it. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm really buying this as a big security step. Carson, seems that if you lose your device and key, you lose all of your passwords. I think because of that sync, assuming syncing is on, I don't think you would lose anything as long as you can bring back your device, because all the passwords are still going to be synced. They're just encoded by your Google password, which I know Google is going to say that they don't have. And strictly speaking, I'm sure they probably do everything they can to not have your password, because it's not like they can just restore accounts. Though, as any reasonable person would say, at any point they can just... They could sniff your passwords. That's not that hard of a thing to do. Read the text on the second screenshot. Okay, we'll just zoom in this way. On-device encryption turns your device into a key that's used to unlock your passwords before they're saved to Google Password Manager. Okay. This means that only you can see the passwords. It means that if you lose the key, you can lose your passwords too. But that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Unless what they mean by the key... If what they mean by the key is that your Google... If the key is your Google password... I mean, they're saying that your device becomes a key, but how would this work across multiple devices? If you lose the key, which means if you lose the device, maybe. I don't know. Either their messaging is terrible, which is very possible. Once on-device encryption is set up, you can't remove it. Bit of a sketchy statement. Some sites and apps will no longer sign you in automatically. You'll need to enter your Google password to unlock your passwords on a new device. Okay, so yeah, it's just doing the syncing, but once it's synced to the device. But why would they even tell you that if you lose your key? That doesn't even make sense. How would you lose the key outside of the device being stolen? Yeah, there's something not quite right about how they're explaining it, but I think ultimately this is just... All they're saying is we switched it so we're no longer encoding it on the device with your Google password. We're just or leaving it unencoded, which is how they used to do it. I don't know if they were still doing it up until now. They might be, because that's how they do it on Windows. Or again, maybe that changed. I know years ago that's how it was, but they may have changed. But yeah, some of this doesn't track correctly. Yeah, but I think for syncing purposes, it's just encrypted with your Google password. Which also, now that I think about it, if your Google password is used to encrypt the passwords, that means that the only way that makes sense is that they're also encrypted. They're using your password to encrypt stuff. Or maybe your password access is a key that's used for encryption. That could be a thing too. I'm just trying to think, how can Google encrypt your passwords for syncing across the service if it's not storing your passwords somewhere? It has to be. But to be fair, you could tokenize that. There's a way that it doesn't have to be your password, but rather a token that they generate. And the token becomes accessible by entering your password. That would make sense. But man, something about this, it feels like theater. I don't feel like this is really stopping Google from being able to access your password so much as just claiming that they have a way that kind of helps. If you're not syncing across devices, you just have a single device that is using this encryption. And at that point, my argument is just use a different password manager. This feels like theater for the sake of saying that Google is a little less evil than people want to believe. And if it's just theater, or rather, if you're really that worried about Google having access to your passwords, just don't use Google's password manager. Just use anything else. Go download Bitwarden. It's honestly really good. It's free. It works well. Just use that. Okay, so password encryption in Google. When you save a password to Google Password Manager, it gets scrambled using a unique key. How it works: once your saved password is encrypted, Google locks it in a secure place until you need it. When you need to use a password, Password Manager unlocks it for you once we know it's really you. What it means: this type of encryption means that you trust Google to hold the key and keep your password secure. On-device encryption and passwords. It'll lock up your passwords with Password Manager, but you take the key with you instead. This means that only you can see your passwords. Just keep in mind that if you lose the key, you could lose your passwords too. Once on-device encryption is set up, you can use your Google password or the screen lock for compatible phones or tablets to unlock your password. This type of encryption means that only blah blah blah. Okay, things to consider. Just remember that if you lose a key, the difference between on-device encryption and sync passphrase. On-device encryption and sync passphrase increase the privacy of the data you sync to Google. On-device encryption applies to your passwords only. Sync passphrase applies to all of the data that you sync to Google via Chrome. That's for anyone who's not putting it together. That basically just adds your bookmarks and no doubt some other stuff, but that's more of what you do with bookmarks. On-device encryption lets you set up multiple ways to lock and unlock your passwords, making it less likely you will lose access to your passwords. With sync passphrase, you choose a phrase to lock and unlock your data. You will lose access to your data if you forget your sync passphrase. Okay. Yeah, I think that this is just losing access to your passwords. If you lose all of your recovery options, which is your Google password and your screen lock on eligible devices, you also lose access to every device that is signed into your Google account and has your password stored. If you lose all your... What? No, something in this is explained wrong. It literally doesn't make sense. You'll lose all of your recovery options, including Google Password. Maybe they need to fix that and turn that into a sentence or something. Something's not right there. Okay, and it discusses deleting your server-side data, which, okay, that's natural. I'm holding to something's not right here. Hey, Kirby, welcome. Yeah, so I think that they've got this. I'm looking at this. I'm feeling like on-device encryption, it probably does help in some very specific scenarios. Ironically, it could actually lower security in a few scenarios. Maybe. But yeah, I'm kind of feeling like this is theater to tell people you can trust Google. And that's fine. But if you're that worried about it, just don't use Chrome. Or, well, don't use Chrome's password manager. I don't see a need to get too caught up in this. So, yeah, it is what it is. To be fair, I would have said the same thing about Chrome's password manager anyway, back in the days when they left your passwords unencrypted. The smart move is just don't use their password manager. Use your own. And again, I'll just say Bitwarden. It works so good. And it supports more than Google's password manager. You can at least put in like encrypted cards. So it's not just passwords. Like you can put in a block of text or something like that and it gets encrypted. It's better. It's just so much the better strategy. Let's see. Oh, hey, Carson, that one's actually something. Google Tasks is replacing assistant reminders in Google Calendar. I'm just going to say the actual word that needs to be in this title, finally replacing assistant reminders. The F word is kind of become a bad word because it got overused a lot in titles, but in this instance, I will say this has been one of the longest overdue changes. They should have been doing this years ago. But yeah, so don't get me wrong, I think Google Tasks kind of sucks because it is overly simple, but is something that you can just add to with Assistant, which I'm assuming is their strategy here, then yeah, this makes life a lot easier because at least the app was better than Assistant's reminders interface. Assistant just did not have a good interface for this. It was messy. It needed a lot of help. Google's reminder strategy is awful. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I think the app's bad, but the mere fact that they've had these two different things, one app that doesn't access the data you probably created using Google Assistant, and another thing that is Google Assistant's data, which has a terrible interface and was only accessible in specific ways. Yeah, it just makes sense. Get rid of these two separate things, merge them together, or rather replace one with the other, and just be done with it. They have done such weird stuff with this. It was one of the biggest complaints going all the way back to let's see, I don't know if I can I'm not, you know what, I'm not gonna go look for it, but I remember there being a review or discussion or something. Somebody posted on AP, it was basically their review of Assistant, and I want to say it was Rita. But one of the biggest call outs was the fact that reminders went into this really clunky interface. And then when the reminders or the tasks app launched, one of the biggest complaints is, why isn't this hooking into the reminders thing? This has been a complaint for what, 8 years ish? Probably 7. Actually, I think it's 7. I want to say 2015 was the year that they launched that, but I might be off. But yeah, I'm sorry that, oh, maybe it was 2016. It probably was 16. So, okay, 6 years, but still, this is something that has been so long overdue. They've had the opportunities to fix it. They finally get there. Kirby, 2016 was the system. Okay, so yeah. I was thinking, wait, when would it have been? It would have been the year I didn't get to go to I/O, which was 2016. Because I remember sitting at home covering Aloe and being like, wow, this thing is not solving the problem any of us wanted solved. Neat. But yeah, it is what it is. So yeah, I don't see any reason they shouldn't have done this sooner, but who knows. The one thing that does kind of bother me though is the Tasks app is also largely not that frequently updated and not with very many good features. So yeah, that's kind of a problem. Hopefully they give it kind of the Google Voice treatment where now that it's been abandoned for a while, they'll circle back and be like, hey, yeah, we can now do stuff with it. And maybe actually make it good. I'd like to see them make it good. Make tasks good again, Google. Let's see. So Carson asking, did I install Fall Guys yet? Not yet, but give me about, I don't know, a couple of minutes, and Fall Guys will be, let's see, PlayStation Store. If I just, what are the odds that if I search for Fall Guys, it'll, nope, of course not. So we'll actually have to use site search. Let's see. Really? How? Oh, I hate the PlayStation Store sometimes. I miss when it looked like the old version of PlayStation Store. It did not used to be shaped like this. I hope I'm not about to show anything I can't show, but thank you. So, add to library. Yay. Now, the question will be download. There we go. I was gonna say they've always had this feature where you could queue it up for downloading to your devices. Okay, sweet. So yeah, that will be. What else is queued to download? Huh. Okay. Yeah, anyway, when I turn my PlayStation on, I'll get that downloaded. It has not been powered up in months, so I imagine there will probably even be a software update that'll have to install, but yeah, I'll have it there, and I don't know if I'll necessarily do it this weekend. I might, depending on what mood I'm in, because I will very probably, I don't know if I'll be finishing it up, but I'm pretty close-ish to the end of Darksiders Genesis. So I might wrap that up first. But yeah, some Fall Guys action will be ideal. Oh, you found that link by just going from the Fall Guys website? Yeah, that makes more sense. That makes a lot more sense. I should have thought of that. So yeah, we'll start squeezing in some Fall Guys stuff. That, and who knows, I might just do kind of a as Fall Guy, like when on nights that I don't have or I don't want to go deeper into a game for a little bit, like, you know, Darksiders has had this very distinct problem where the maps take like an hour and a half, 2 hours to complete. So if I have like 45 minutes left before I'm going to stop a stream, you know, a quick switch to Fall Guys would be a good way to finish out the night. Wonder if it's crossplay now. It was supposed to be. I have no idea if it actually is, but let's see. Do they mention? I bet they don't mention in the description, but just out of curiosity. Does it? Fall Guys supports crossplay, cross-platform parties, and cross-progression via your Epic Games account. That answers that. The caveat. Oh yeah, no, I would have signed into my account. The thing is, it's not like it matters. The only thing that matters in terms of progression is some of the currency that you get. Otherwise, doesn't really matter. Let's see, Curving confirming it has been. Yeah, the change here technically is it went free to play, which now they're pushing harder on the currencies, unsurprisingly. But I wonder if part of me does worry, just to check. I like how they grammatically screwed up this part. To play this game on PS5, your system may need to be updated to the latest system software. Although this game is playable on PS5, some features available on PS4 may be absent. That sentence is kind of wrong, but we understand what's intended. They just got it wrong. Online features require an account and are subject to terms. What I'm worried about... I hope this doesn't require PlayStation Plus. I don't see it mentioned here, but that would be my one concern. I'll have to check it out. I doubt it does because this is really strictly an online only game, but I'll have to look. Let's see. Carson. Oh, hopefully you don't need PSN. Yeah, exactly. I know Xbox made multiplayer free for free-to-play games. Okay, so Kirby's saying it doesn't require it. Hopefully not, because if so, that'll be a big letdown. Sorry, just closing that tab. Yeah, that'd be a really big letdown if they screw that up. But hey, you know, you can't always have faith. A lot of dumb things happen. Oh. So, not nearly as bad as Corbin, but it is getting fairly toasty in here. I'm feeling that starting to sweat more noticeably feeling. So I think I'm gonna close it up. Unfortunately, this is probably going to be the story for a lot of summer days through the rest of the season, because July, I mean, we're basically to the end of June, so I'm not overly worried about it here. But July, August, probably part of September, these are going to be days when it gets hot fairly early. I'm going to be doing the whole thing where I have to do as much as possible to air out the house during the nighttime into the morning, and then hopefully keep it as cool as possible throughout the day. That's the kind of thing. So RambleCast, and you guys remember this from last summer, RambleCast will probably be on the shorter side because it will just get sweltering hot during the summer, and that makes it really freaking hard to stick to it. With that said, oh, I just saw an email that I might need to check out. But yeah, with that said, probably I'm going to assume more often than not, wrapping up around 5 is going to become the normal. Oh, okay. Man, I'm seeing notifications popping up all over the place, and it's like, shit, do I need to check that? No, not anything immediate. But, and then game streams, probably actually going to be not all that different of a situation, but those are a little bit easier to manage because they are shorter, though they also start later. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. Anyway, so yeah, I think that'll wrap it up for today. Again, this weekend, probably going to finish Darksiders Genesis, or at least play more of it. And then maybe mix in some Fall Guys. I'll make sure to have it downloaded and updated before Saturday night. That's the only, yeah, I'll find time. I'm gonna be super busy between now and probably Friday afternoon. For those who don't know, I have a thing scheduled tomorrow that is going to take a lot of my time and focus. For those who do know, you already know what it is. And then obviously I've got the movie post that's going to suck up a ton of time between tomorrow night and Friday afternoon, so that's pretty much going to have me occupied. Then next week, well, that's next week. Nothing gets in the way. I'm actually going to have probably a little more free time next week, so I'll be doing some writing, probably a lot of writing. And that, hopefully, that DJI Mini 2 review will finally get published. The writing is done. I actually, oh, you know what? There's a chance I might do a little bit of video editing this weekend, one night. We'll see what happens. A lot of possibilities. They're all over the place. All the possibilities are everywhere. Yeah, sorry. I'm just being dumb. Anyway, with that, thank you guys for hanging out, showing up, being part of the conversation. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. If you'd like to support the channel, assuming you don't already, there are links down in the description for Streamlabs, Patreon, and Cash App. Feel free to contribute whatever you like, or don't at all. It's not a requirement. Trying to think if there were other words. I don't think I have other words. Anyway, with that, I hope you all have an excellent rest of your week. I said that just a minute ago. I'm flaking. It's hot in here. And with that, goodbye, everybody.